just received in our and further details of this continuing story. Just received in our this is the latest dispatch just received in our news.
Hello, and welcome again to the Clapback. No, it's not a show about that section of the cha-cha slide that Caucasians call the hard part. This is the only news show that doesn't talk about the news. We talk to the news, because sometimes we gotta get funky.
Everybody clap your hands.
Let's go to work. Hey, did you know that the cha-cha slide originally became popular because it was used for aerobic sessions? I mean, that has to be true because it says it on Wikipedia, and everybody knows that Wikipedia is like an encyclopedia for people who don't like to read but are too sophisticated to get their information from YouTube. I almost didn't do this show because, as you may know, if you've watched previous episodes, I am obsessed with white people protesting to open up the economy. After last week, when white people grabbed their guns and stormed the state capitol in Michigan, I figured I was almost done with this shit. After all, how much crazier could white people get than walking into the state house strapped up? But then, this happened.
Amped Fitness here has been closed since March 20th, and the owner contacted 8 on Your Side because he believes it's time for that to end.
Gym owners and customers came to Clearwater to work out their frustrations today. From Eagle 8 HD, we could see them protesting against the continued government shutdown of their business.
Here we see the push-ups. This is part of the demonstration that they have been doing here, buddy. Here outside of the Clearwater courthouse, doing push-ups here.
What the fuck is that? You know what? I think white people are just trolling us now. I don't even think they're protesting anymore. I think they're just trying to find ways to get out of the house and do the fun things that they would be doing if they weren't under stay-at-home orders. I bet they were at home last month like, hey, Bubba, what you doing today? And Bubba was like, I don't know. You know, all white dudes are nicknamed Bubba. Kind of like Karen for white dudes. And Bubba was like, I'm ready to get out of the house, but I ain't got nowhere to go. And the other Bubba was like, I would like to try my new rocket launcher and scare some black people and then go eat somewhere nice like Subway. And then the first Bubba was like, I have an idea. And then they just did it.
People protesting North Carolina stay-at-home order and the reopening of the economy. Earlier this morning, things got a little heated when a man confronted a group of armed protesters gathering outside Oakwood Cemetery in Raleigh.
I don't give a damn about your state law.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's Constitution, man.
All right. That's fine. That's fine. Hey, if that's how you feel.
You swore no to the Constitution. Are you going to uphold it?
That's how you feel. All
That
right?
is how I feel.
All right. No problem at all.
Not just
All
me.
right.
Millions of us.
Okay.
He knows his dad's a coward. That's all he knows.
Nice to
It's an AT4.
Trash. Yeah.
Wait, bruh, is that, wait, I think it is. Man, I think that's Mario. Or maybe it's Luigi. I don't know, you know, they all look alike. But anyway, after this happened, guess where they went to eat? That's right, they went to Subway. After seeing this, you can't convince me that those push-up protester dudes didn't go, you know, I'd love to get outside and do some push-ups while white women in booty shorts did squats in front of me. You got any ideas? And Bubba, remember who I said Bubba was? And Bubba was like, I'm supposed to be saving the princess right now, but say no more. Get in the car. Someone should really talk to these guys. I mean, not me. I don't fuck with white people who wear tank tops and carry guns. It's a bad combination. I mean, how do you think their necks got so red? Speaking of which, the first president who literally has a red neck is now pushing a new conspiracy theory called, of course, Obamagate. And if you're wondering what Obamagate is, President Trump explains it here.
What crime exactly are you accusing President Obama of committing, and do you believe the Justice Department should prosecute him?
Obamagate. It's been going on for a long time. It's been going on from before I even got elected. And it's a disgrace that it happened. And if you look at what's gone on, and if you look at now all of this information that's being released, and from what I understand, that's only the beginning. Some terrible things happened, and it should never be allowed to happen in our country again. And you'll be seeing what's going on over the coming weeks. But I wish you'd write honestly about it. But unfortunately, you choose not to do so. Yeah, John, please.
Crime. What is the crime exactly that you're accusing him of?
You know what the crime is. The crime is very obvious to everybody.
Okay, maybe he didn't explain it that well, but you know the people at the Redneck News Network found a lawyer who will explain it all.
You've handled a number of these cases. What do you make of this new release of all of these transcripts, the notes we found the week before, texts, all kinds of things that now are raising a lot of questions from people about the Flynn prosecution and the Russia investigation?
Yeah, I'm sitting here trying to figure out what exactly constitutional deprivation was there? What is the crime that people think, Barack Obama and Joe Biden are going to be prosecuted under? To be clear, and this is using the words of President Trump and his lawyers for the last 3 years, any sitting president can get any classified information they want. According to Donald Trump, they can launch any investigation they want. They can tell the FBI to pursue only particular individuals. This is not me saying it. This is what Donald Trump's been saying for 3 years. This was their argument during the Mueller probe. This was their argument during the impeachment investigation, that the president has this kind of authority. So what is the crime?
Well, we're going to have to leave it there, but I will tell you.
Okay, can we get a black person to explain this thing?
Retweeting an utterly absurd claim by a conspiracy theorist that the former President Barack Obama was behind what he calls the Russia hoax. This one is really a new low from a president who goes low all the time. It is obviously completely untrue. It's a disturbed fantasy. And just as obviously, he doesn't really expect you to believe it. He just wants to turn the page, to get you to think about something, anything, other than one of the worst crises in this nation's history. What is it about President Obama that really gets under your skin? Is it because he's smarter than you? Better educated? Made it on his own, didn't need daddy's help? His wife is more accomplished? Better looking? I don't know, what is it? What is it about him? That he's a black man that's accomplished, became president? That he punked you on the whole birth certificate thing? What is it about him? Just wondering.
Oh, wait. That was easy. I mean, I don't even have to clap back for this one, do I? Maybe I should just get down and do something like do some push-ups. I don't really have to say anything to Trump. Don Lemon said it all. You know what? I would like to clap back at someone who really let us down. Barack and Michelle Obama. First of all, how y'all doing? I know y'all probably somewhere doing some fly shit like chilling out on beaches we didn't even know existed. You look good, girl. Or kite surfing. I mean, are black people even allowed to kite surf? I know white people love anything having to do with ropes and flying. That's how we got hot air balloons and airplanes and tightrope walkers and bungee jumping. Now, I know that for some reason, most black people I know are reluctant to participate in rope dangling activities. You know, white people did a lot of that shit, like from 1619 to like last week. Oddly, you know, they didn't publish a lot of their research. But hey guys, I need you to know something. Playtime is over. While you're going out more and literally wearing less, we about to die over here. Like, I don't know who else to call. I know y'all probably somewhere saying, Biden got this, but y'all know that white man ain't ready. He's been in the house since February. He ain't ready to risk it all. Look, y'all got to do something. And Barack, I mean, you're going to have to run again, bro. And I know this is all technically unconstitutional, But that same Constitution says the president is not supposed to receive payoffs. That same Constitution says that every vote is supposed to count. That same Constitution says the presidency is a co-equal branch of government. That same Constitution tells us to tell the truth and shame the devil. Okay, maybe that last one is like from my grandmama's Constitution, but y'all see what I'm saying, right? Now, if this current administration has taught us anything, it's that the Constitution don't mean shit. So you should just run again, see what happens. Plus, I really want to see if all those white people were lying who said they would have voted for Obama a third time. Okay, Barack, if you don't want to do it, then, I mean, we can get Michelle to run, right? Look, everyone knows that if you want shit done right, you got to do it yourself. And then you're probably still gonna do it wrong, but then a black woman's gonna say, sit down, boy, and then she's gonna do it, and then it's gonna be done right. So let's skip all the rigmarole and let Michelle Obama run for president. It's not too late. We still got like 6 weeks left until the convention. Or let her run as VP, and then Joe Biden will mysteriously drop out. We can just say, like, he went to the bathroom and didn't come back. You know, everybody knows that white dudes take a long time in the bathroom. And it's not because they're washing their hands. It's because they're always taking like long shits, and they be loud shits too. White dudes be shitting in airports and gas stations on America. So please, Barack, Michelle, please step up. I mean, I know it will make white people mad, but what are they gonna do? They're gonna storm the Capitol, call y'all racist names, show up at a subway with a rocket launcher? See what I'm saying? It'll be like old times. And finally, I'd like to say something about 2 cases that have grabbed the headlines this week.
And Breonna Taylor, she was shot 8 times in Louisville, Kentucky by the Metro police officers. They entered her house March 13th. She was an EMT and part-time nurse on the front lines fighting the coronavirus. They were executing some sort of search warrant, even though the actual culprit had already been arrested.
The family is demanding answers today in the death of a frontline healthcare worker who was killed during a police raid 2 months ago today. Breonna Taylor's family is suing 3 Louisville police officers after the 26-year-old woman was shot and killed in her apartment. Now, officials say this incident back in March was tied to a drug investigation where police were searching for someone else. As our national correspondent Jerika Duncan reports, Taylor's mother claims gross negligence took her daughter's life.
No one has been arrested or charged in the death of 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery. Police say he was chased by 2 men who suspected him of a crime. Arbery's family says all he was doing was jogging.
People in Fort Myers walked or jogged today in memory of Ahmaud Arbery. That young man was chased down by men in a pickup truck who were armed and shot and killed while he was jogging unarmed in a Georgia neighborhood.
Did you hear it? Breonna Taylor was just a poor EMT worker and a nurse who's on the front lines, saving lives until police killed her. And Ahmaud Arbery, he was just out jogging, unarmed, and white men hunted him down. Innocent black men and women are killed all of the time, and we must do something about it. So we dress them up. We make them innocent. We create these narratives to make dead black men and women more sympathetic. Ahmaud was an innocent jogger, so we run for Ahmaud. Mike Brown was a recent high school graduate who had his hands up, so we yelled, hands up, don't shoot. Trayvon Martin, he was wearing a hoodie eating Skittles, so we wore hoodies and drank Arizona iced tea, which is like really just Kool-Aid for cowboys. And what does it accomplish? Maybe it brings awareness, as if we didn't know that police and white men were able to hunt and kill without punishment. But what we're actually doing is practicing a form of respectability justice. Even worse, we're creating a narrative that concedes to the white gaze and perpetuates injustice because, according to us, these caricatures of black respectability deserve white people's sorrow because, you know, these people were just, benevolent, like white people. And if that's true, then who deserves to die? People who reach for their weapons, people who were probably likely guilty, who? But here's the thing that you should know. It's not us. It's them. Since everyone is sitting around hoping we come up with a corona vaccine so we can go outside and do legal push-ups, Let me tell you a story about this guy named Onesimus. Onesimus was an enslaved African who was brought to America, where he was purchased by Cotton Mather, the preacher dude who ran the Salem witch trials. You know, Cotton Mather was like Brett Kavanaugh, but, you know, like without the beer. So, in 1716, Onesimus told his master an incredible story. Mather was already thinking that Onesimus was wicked and thievish because Onesimus was intelligent. And that's how white people think of intelligence. Plus, Cotton was a preacher and Onesimus still practiced his African religions. Plus, you know, the dude's name was Cotton, and, you know, traditionally, cotton and slaves don't really get along. Anyway, Onesimus taught himself how to speak English, and one day he told Mather some bullshit story that he didn't even believe. Onesimus said that he knew how to cure smallpox. Now, you gotta realize how terrible smallpox was back then. It wiped out entire civilizations. Basically, Europeans were like Thanos when they colonized America, and smallpox was like, you know, the fifth infinity stone. So, of course, Cotton didn't believe him. But Onesimus showed Cotton a scar on his arm and told him how in Africa they would take the pus from a smallpox sore. Now, I know this shit is like real gross. And then they would cut the arm and they would rub the pus into the cut, which made them immune to the disease. Now, Cotton thought Onesimus was lying his ass off. He thought it was crazy, but Cotton decided to try it because, I mean, you couldn't Google shit back then. Like, Wi-Fi was very slow back in 1716. And then Cotton, he went on to convince one of his homeboys who was a doctor to try Onesimus' cure. And the doctor did it. And then he did it on 242 people. And then in 1721, smallpox killed 14% of the people in Boston, 14% of the entire Boston population. 1 out of every 7 people. But damn near all of the 242 people who tried Onesimus' method, they didn't catch smallpox. So Mather, he saw what happened and he started writing letters to doctors all over the world. And the news spread around the globe. And for the first time, American doctors had evidence-based tests to show that live vaccines can provide immunity. Now, eventually, the smallpox vaccine became mandatory in Massachusetts, and then in America. And then in 1980, the World Health Organization declared that smallpox was the first disease that was ever wiped out by modern medicine. Now, to this day, it's the method used to create damn near every vaccine in the world. If they discover a cure for the coronavirus, it will be just a variation of the same shit Onesimus did. Now, this ain't even no secret. You know, you can read this whole story on the National Institute of Health's website. So, Onesimus saved Cotton Mather's family. He saved the city, the state, and eventually the whole entire world. But that's not the point of this story. A few years later, Onesimus had gathered up enough money to buy his freedom from Cotton Mather. Now, Cotton, who owed his life to Onesimus, took the money and then he made Onesimus stay enslaved. And so Onesimus, what did he do? He went back and raised the money again and offered it to Cotton. And this time, he even offered to purchase another enslaved man to replace him. And Cotton said no. And then when Onesimus told Cotton that he just wanted to be free, Mather told him, "But you just my slave." And that's why the respectability will never work. There is nothing that we can do, say, or wear to make them value our lives. You can live your whole life in a 3-piece suit and Stacey Adams, and it still wouldn't make you immune to the violent whims of whiteness. It has not changed in 400 years, and all the hashtags in the world and all the jogging won't make them see us as human. The people who practice oppression will never see you as anything other than a nigger, just like Onesimus was and was forever just a slave in Mather's eyes. But matter of fact, If you go on the National Institute of Health's website to read this Once story, you should also read the study that shows that white people see black people as more threatening. Or maybe you should read the one that shows how whites associate the presence of a black man with the presence of violence. Or perhaps you can read the study that shows how white men see black men as larger and stronger than white men who are the same size. And yeah, I know what you're thinking, but y'all do be criming though. Well, according to FBI data, black people were arrested for 2 million crimes in the latest year recorded, which is a lot. For comparison, white people were arrested for about 5 million crimes. But you know what else that means? It means 97% of black people did not commit a crime that year. So if they see you as a threat, it's them. If they see us as criminals, it's because of them. It's not us. It's them. But suppose Ahmaud Arbery was a thug who did burglarize a home and then ran down the street. Suppose Breonna Taylor was working full-time and going to school while operating a drug ring in her house. Suppose Mike Brown did attack Darren Wilson with his bare hands. And let's suppose Trayvon Martin did beat the snot out of a man 20 years older who was chasing him with a gun. Why should the penalty be death? It's because they are who they are, and they will always be that. See, Onesimus was once a free man, like until he was an adult. He was a healer, he was smart, he was intelligent, and all the healing and saving and teaching he gave to that white man didn't change how that white man saw him. But that wasn't Onesimus' fault, because he was never a slave. That's just how that white man saw him. But there is one disease that Onesimus could never cure. It was the white man. That white man was always what he was. That white man was and forever will be a slave master. And you can't change that. Until next week, may the clapback be with you all. Amen.
This is the latest dispatch just received in our news.